Hey guys, what's up? It's Jamie Kennedy. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I decided that I want to have a series called How I Got Cast. A lot of people ask me how I got into Hollywood, how I got a role, what was it like getting this role. I wish I had people telling me that stuff when I was coming up or now even, you know. I think like you see a lot of people's successes and what they've done and the result of it, but you don't know how they got there. So that's what this series is, How I Got Cast. And this is for, you know, there's a lot of people that are fans that ask, and then there's, you know, up and coming actors and such and comedians. So, you know, the biggest thing in the news right now in terms of my credits, Scream. Right now, this is, you know, right before Thanksgiving 2020, and Scream just wrapped production on Scream 5, titled Scream. I did a joke on Twitter. I said, so it's called Scream. I don't know how people are going to react to that. It's amazing that this franchise is still alive a quarter of a century later, and how lucky I am to be a part of it. As you know, I've died, and then I came back in the third, probably the most talked about credit that I have. This one is How I Got Cast in Scream. I've been out in LA for about 6 years, and there's a lot of steps that if you know, if you like this video, I can take you through them of what I've done to get to this place. But I finally got my own little studio, a bachelor apartment they call it, and I was like starting to live good because I started getting commercials after a lot of struggle.
Get the picture?
I started getting pop-in spots at like the Factory or showcase spots at the Improv. I was doing whatever I could. I was doing stand-up at night, auditioning during the day, writing, whatever I could do. I got something called the breakdowns. And the breakdowns are basically like, those are the gold for actors. You know, for anybody, comedians. It's basically the guts of what's going on in this business. So anything that is being made within our business with any of the big media companies, Disney's, Sony, whatever, they'll break down something where agents and managers get, and they show the projects, TV shows, movies, of what they're looking for. So I was paying for these monthly and getting them illegally. And that's something that every actor knows how to, you know, you have to do, and comedians, but they're not, you kids today have it so goddamn easy. Let me tell you what you had to do. You had to get these fucking things. You had to know somebody, you give somebody $200 cash, and then you got a copy that they got from some agents, and then you got a copy of them, and you'd pick them up every week, and I'd pick them up inside of this guy's apartment. Like, he lived in a little back house, and he would leave them out. He wouldn't even give them to me. That's how like scared it was, because it's kind of like illegal, and I don't care I'm saying it, because you have to do something illegal, get in this business, because no one wants you. And this was not like a big crime. So I was getting these things illegally, and every day I would do two things. And this was expensive. I would buy a variety, and I would look through the breakdowns of what was casting that day. I look and I see that there was a movie that was sold to a company called Woods Productions, Carrie Woods. And this company won a bidding war for this little independent horror, and they had sold it to Dimension. And Dimension was the new spin-off company of Miramax. And Miramax was becoming huge with Steven Soderbergh's movie. Oh God, Sex, Lies, and Videotape was kind of I believe it was Miramax that put that out. That was like the kind of the movie that put them on the map. And then Crying Game and multiple things, obviously Pulp Fiction. So they were starting to make money. They wanted to do genre films. So they formed Dimension. So they bought this movie off an unknown writer, young writer by the name of Kevin Williamson, who I believe at the time said before that he was just like doing background work and just struggling like everybody. So I see this in the paper, and I'm like, oh, that's fucking cool, because I know young actors, unknown actors, I just know that's kind of a rule of thumb that you get your break in a genre movie. It's easier to do that because the star of the movie is the genre. As I'm reading that, I'm drinking my smoothie, and I look on the breakdowns, and it says for new castings, scary movie. And I still have the breakdown. And I'm looking for roles and I'm like, oh, this is that movie. Oh, shit. And it says Randy, the Gangly Fifth Wheel, a movie trivia nerd, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, wait a minute. Gangly talks a lot. It stuck out to me. I'm like, I could do that. This is what I was doing all before I started getting representation. But I got representation, and I called my agent and I said, look, there's this movie I heard was casting. We had a great relationship. And she's like, oh yeah, I saw that. I'm gonna get you in. Well, that's how she talks. I kept pushing, and then boom, I get an audition. I get the sides, I get the facts. It's a fuck load of dialogue. And I'm like, wow, this is a real part. So I go in and I meet this wonderful casting director, Lisa Beach, and her associate, Sarah Katzman. I think they were just starting out, or they definitely have more experience than me. Everybody did. Now they've done everything. They're massive. So we used to be able, today, I don't know for any actors that are out there or whatever, or people, is you have to be what they call off book to really know your shit, and you can't mess up. You can't say a wrong word, or they're going to wonder if you can act or not. But in the 90s, you can try stuff. You can look at your script. Just as long as you got a feel for it. Then they were like, okay, I like your feel or not. I had looked at it a few times and I knew, but I'm like, this is so much dialogue. I'm not going to risk messing it up. And it's so good. So I go in and I read, and I'm like, you can see my audition. It's on YouTube. And I'm like, half of it I'm on the book, and half of it I'm like, yeah. But I just knew he was a lot of energy, and he was paranoid, and he was like, what the fuck?
You can never have sex. The minute you get a little nookie, you're as good as gone.
And I'll never forget it. I did it after that big scene about everyone's a suspect. And I look up, and she looks at me, and she's just staring at me, and she's just like, I think you can do this part. And I'm like, thank you. This was like positive feedback, my first audition. And she's like, no. I really think you can do this part. And I'm like, okay, what's that mean? She goes, it means I'm going to see you again. And I was like, oh, okay. And she's like, yeah. And she was locked in on me. And I just got this vibe that I'd never gotten before, where somehow we connected. She was vulnerable and letting me see that she was excited about me, which is beautiful because I'm desperate. I'm a young actor. I mean, we all have desperate times in our life. And I really connected with this role, and she and me, just for whatever reason, a chemical moment just happened, and she's like, I think you can do it. She wasn't cool. She wasn't hiding. She's like, okay, what? I hate all that bullshit. This is how it used to be. She was, bam, I really like you. You can do it. And literally before I got home, like, there was no Starbucks back then. I'm trying to think of the fuck I did. You would go to Kinko's and print a resume. I mean, that's what you did. I had a call from my agent on my answering machine. And she's like, honey, they love you. Can you go Thursday and meet Wes Craven? This was like Tuesday at 3. By 5, I had this message. I'm like, can I go? Wes Craven? What? This is like the biggest, At the time, I was auditioning for Romeo and Juliet too, which was also huge. But that was a while ago, and then I was waiting, and I didn't meet Baz yet. So this was like I was going to meet Wes. This was like my first, until this day, one of the few icons I've ever really, read for. So I just stayed in, for like the next 2 days and just memorized the script. It was at a time where like if I had a set, like at a club or something, I might have blown it off just to keep working on it because you have to like focus, I go in, I see Wes, and then I meet Marianne and Elena, his partner, who's, still like one of the, my greatest friends today. I go in and I audition, and the room is silent. And his producer, Marianne, she's like, that was really good. And just looking at me, this sweet, beautiful face. And Wes goes, I like that. That's how he is. Like, I don't even have the impression, but Wes is just like, that was good. Like just low key, chill. I was like, do you need to see it again? Or you want to do anything different? And I was like, oh, I liked it. I leave. I have no idea how I did. I end up getting the role in Romeo and Juliet right around this time, the role of Samson, which is a whole other story. But I didn't have it when I was auditioning for this. Then I'm like, what's going on with Scream, you know? And they were like, you did a good job. There's a whole process. They had to get the movie financed, they had to do this and that. And Wes had just signed on, I believe, when I auditioned. So then I go and I'm shooting Romeo and Juliet. My hair is pink and all this stuff. And then my agent calls and she's like, honey, she's like, they really like you. And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, you're like really being considered. And I'm like, okay, what's that mean? She's like, you're in the final 10. And I was like, final 10? The fuck? Like that's, so like every day or every other day I'd get a call from my agent. She'd be like, honey, they really like you. You're in the final 8. Right? And then like another day comes, honey, you're in the final 6. This is getting real. Honey, you're in the final 4. And I'm like, what? She's like, yeah. And I have another girl, I represent, Rose McGowan. Like, they really like her too. So it's like, I could have like 2. She's like, honey, they want to see you again. Like, I think it's down to you and one other person. I fly back from Mexico. And I believe at the time, I saw Breckenmeyer there, who I auditioned for Clueless a few times. And the role he got, that's the role I auditioned for. So Brecken, I could see, like, he could be definitely in this mix. And Seth Green, I also heard, but I don't think he was there that day. So I walk in, and my hair was bright pink. And I walk in, and it's Wes, it's his producer, it's another producer. It's like, there's probably 15 people in this room. Wes's producer goes, your hair, it's pink. Ah! I go, I know, but because I'm doing Romeo and Juliet right now with Baz Luhrmann, you know, like the adaptation, and like that was getting a lot of buzz in Hollywood. And I go, it's like a good movie, like I got a good part, and Leo, this kid Leo that everyone's talking about, like he was already blowing up, but it was pre-Titanic, so he was about to blow up. And they're like, it's really pink, and I was like, but you could probably just dye it, right? And they're like, yeah, I guess we could. But it was really scary. It was really scary. And I thought, oh God, I'm gonna lose this part. But to me, I just thought I could wear a wig or whatever. So I fucking auditioned. They were like, yeah, it's a great job. At the time, there was a movie called Mallrats. And it was a young director, Kevin Smith. And it was his second movie, I believe, after Clerks. And he had to star Jason Lee. And Jason Lee was really hot. Funny, good-looking dude, former skateboarder, great natural actor. Now, I don't remember him at all in the screen process, but I just remember that Dimension loved him. My agent called me on like the next week, and she's like, it's going to be yours, baby. I think you got this. This is incredible. It's fucking amazing. It's a huge break for you. Blah, blah, blah. It's just crazy because you don't get anything. And then you're on the set of this movie with Baz Luhrmann and Leo and Claire Danes and everybody, and then you're up for another movie. So it just shows you how like you get when you're getting. The next day or the day after, she goes, I have to talk to you. And I'm like, what? She's like, Wes loves you, but the studio really likes Jason Lee. There was like a time when I was like, so what's going on? She goes, it's fine, but right now Jason Lee's really being considered, but I think you're the front runner. And it was like, I have the role's yours, you're gonna get this role, you might lose the role, there's another person up for the role, this role might be Jason's. Ooh, honey, I don't know. You might lose it now. I don't know. Like, so this whole thing switched, and I was like, fuck, like Mallrats, and he was already in Mallrats. I'm like, I didn't even see him at the auditions. And after like another 2 weeks, I get a call. My agent's like, Wes Craven wants to call you. And I'm like, what? She's like, I don't know. He wants to talk to you. And I was like, oh no. Because they didn't have enough credits. They kept saying, who is this fucking guy? He's got no credits. Who the fuck is? And it's true. I had fucking 0 credits. So I go and I fucking go and I do a collect call, and Wes Craven, I call him. He's just like, hello. And I'm like, Wes, how you doing, Mr. Craven? This is Jamie Kennedy calling. He's like, are you ready to make a movie? And I was like, really? He's like, yep. You've been my pick for number 1. I just can't see anyone else saying these lines. Welcome aboard. And I was just like, and by the time I was finishing up Romeo and Juliet, and I don't believe I could talk about it. I knew, like my last week, that I got Scream. So then I had heard that the studio didn't want me. I could take it certain ways and get in my feelings, but I was not known. I was just a really good actor, which I believe. I was really good for this role. But there's no way you can fucking ever get in this business if someone doesn't give you a break. And literally, Wes Craven gave me a break. He said, this guy is fucking great. Trust me, I believe in him. That is the only reason I got that movie, is because he believed in me. And I was the only one I heard that they were really wavering on because of my credits. And to this day, I have him to thank for the springboard of my career. Hey guys, thank you for watching. You know what you gotta do. You gotta subscribe, please. Subscribe, take that big thumb, do that to it, thumb on thumb. I'm kind of new at this, doing this YouTube type of stuff, but this is the kind of content that I want to create, and I hopefully let me know if you enjoyed watching it. Let me know in the comments how you feel, and let me know what other movies or projects you want to know how I got, because I can start doing more of this.